Hello everybody, today we will be going over an IB Math Studies trigonometry problem. And so we have three airport runways that intersect to form the triangle ABC. The length of AB is 3.1 kilometers, which is this guy here. From AC is 2.6 kilometers, which is this guy there. And from BC is 2.4 kilometers, which is this guy there. And so a company has hired us to cut the grass that grows in the triangle ABC, but they need to know the area of the whole triangle. And so before we even get the area of the whole triangle, we need to find A, the size in degrees of angle BAC. Okay. Now, when it says BAC in such manner, okay, the fact that it has like this little sign up here means that you need to find angle A. Okay, and B and C here are just in reference to be able to find angle A. And so reading this, it is asking for that angle here. Okay, and now we will go on to part A. So part A, we need to find the angle A. And first things first, in this triangle, we only have sides, okay? And in any scenario where you have like a lot of sides and very few angles, or you're looking for a single angle, you need to think of the cosine rule, okay? The sine rule in trigonometry tends to be used in pairs, and the cosine rule tends to be used if you have a bunch of sides, okay? In this scenario, we have a bunch of sides. And so there's two versions of the formula, which are really the exact same thing. I know it can be a little overwhelming, but they are truly the exact same formula, just that some of the elements have been moved around. The purpose of this is so that in one of the versions of the formula, you have a side that's alone, which is a squared, and in the other one, you have an angle that's alone, which is cosine A. Let us remember that small letters are sides and big letters are angles in terms of these trigonometry formulas. All right, but whatever. The hard part about this problem is that these little b's and c's and a's in the formula are not necessarily the same b's and c's and a's in the problem. Okay, this is done on purpose to trip you up, to confuse you, so that you end up putting a in the value of c or b in the value of c, yeah, or b in the value, like whatever. It's meant to trip you up. So what I suggest is that you rewrite the formula just to make it super clear with different letters, okay? X is going to be A, B is going to be Y, and Z is going to be C, okay? This way, we guarantee that we don't fall into the trap. We guarantee that we don't get confused, because that is the purpose of the problem, to confuse us and use the formula wrong. But we see through that and rewrite the formula in the way that we want. If you look closely at this formula, right, the x angle, and when I say x angle, I mean this guy here, is also has a negative sign here. And that's literally all you have to know to be able to use this formula. If you notice, y and z are interchangeable, because y and z are multiplying down here, and it doesn't matter what multiplies what. 2 times 3 is the same as 3 times 2, okay? And it doesn't matter how they add, because, I mean, 1 plus 2 is the same as 2 plus 1. The only thing that matters is the negative sign here, okay? So you need to be able to define what angle am I looking for, therefore, which distance is going to have a negative value, okay? And in this scenario, our x is going to be our a. So if I do cosine a, right now I'm plugging in the formula, is this guy here, it's going to equal the other two sides, which in this scenario are this one and this one. This would be my y and my z. We have 3.1 squared plus 2.6 squared minus 2.4 squared, okay? And it's minus because this angle A is paired to that distance here, okay? This whole thing is getting divided by 2 times y, which in this case is 3.1, and times z, which in this case is 2.6, okay? Now, this whole chunk, to get A alone, because we need the angle alone. It's not enough to just have cosine A on one side. You want to have A equals blah, okay? You need to do cosine inverse in your calculator to this whole chunk, okay? I'm not going to rewrite the chunk because it's time consuming, but this sign right here is just showing that it's the same chunk, okay? You want to do cosine inverse to this whole thing, the whole thing right here, okay? So you want to trust the process, pop that thing into your calculator, and you end up with A, angle A, or should I say BAC, is equal to 48.8381. I do not know how to write today. Let me try that again. BAC is equal to 48.8381. Okay? And it's important also that you put the degree sign right next to it. Now, for part B, it gets a little more complicated because you need to find the actual area of the triangle. Now, our traditional way of finding the area is base times height divided by 2. Okay? And you could say we have a base. We have the base of 2.6. But do you think we can get the height right here? In some trigonometry problems, that is what you end up doing. But in this one, you actually can't. However, you need to get familiar with the formula booklet and know that there is a formula which uses the following. It tells us that the area, which in the formula booklet puts it as big A, but I don't want to confuse you guys, so I'm just going to put area is equal to 1/2 AB, A times B, times sine C, okay? Where AB are adjacent sides and C is the angle between A and B. So again, in this scenario, C is not, the C in the formula is not the C we're going to plug in from the problem, because the C from the problem would be this angle here, you see? But the angle we want to plug in is the one we found, right? Which is angle BAC, which is the one here, okay? That is what I mean by the formula that it can trip you up. And so the A that we're going to be plugging in and the B that we're going to be plugging in are the adjacent sides to the angle we're plugging in, which is this one here. So the adjacent means right next to. And so the angles right next to this angle that I'm drawing in blue now would be 3.1 and 2.6. And the angle that we're plugging in is, as I said before, the one we found, BAC. Okay? And so plugging that whole thing in, we have area is 1/2 times A, 3.1, times B, 2.6. Remember, when I say A, I'm referring to this, okay? What the formula is telling me. The value is adjacent to the angle I'm plugging in. And the sine C is going to be the sine of the angle that we have, which in this case is angle BAC. And we know that angle BAC is 48.8381. Okay? Trust the process, pop that whole thing into your calculator, and we find that for part B, we have 3.03397, and that is the answer. However, we're not done yet. Important, units. Units is part of the mark scheme. Kilometers squared. If you don't put the units, you lose credit. So be careful with that. So that is part B, and part A was back here. That is it. I hope it helped. It is worth saying that this problem is hard. It's hard because the cosine rule is confusing. It's not used very often, I feel. And the A's and the B's and the C's are misleading, okay? They don't always add up. They don't always match up with what is on the diagram or what the problem is giving you. So be very careful with that. I insist it can be very beneficial to rewrite it as letters that are not being used so that you understand which one you should actually be plugging in and not fall into the confusion of A, B, and C. That is it. I hope it helped. Peace out.